Hello everyone, hope you're doing well. I'm Umesh, your host for today's webinar, Transitioning to Remote Learning with Integrated Learning Systems. My colleague Kumudini will help me moderate the chat. In last a few months, organizations have transitioned to remote working model. The adoption is still in progress. However, considering this new normal, it is very important for organizations to carefully design the remote learning environment for the betterment of their employees' skills development. You will agree with me that remote learning or online learning is not just about taking people on Zoom and training them. There are many more aspects to it, and technology plays a vital role in making this entire remote learning affair successful. And precisely this is what this today's webinar is all about. Let me introduce to our today's speakers, Nitin Kulkarni and Umesh Kanade. Nitin is our Chief Learning Officer and Chief Operating Officer at Harbinger Group. Nitin's primary agenda is leadership development and employee experience transformation innovations at Harbinger Group. Umesh Kanade, we call him UK as well, is our Vice President Capability Development Harbinger Systems. Establishment of learner-centric technology culture is primary charter for Umesh's profile. And you'll hear more from Umesh about how we have established that culture at Harbinger in this webinar. With this, now let me hand it over to Nitin. Thank you.
Thank you, Umesh, and good morning and good evening to everyone. I hope you are staying safe and doing well. So let's start off by just looking at what are the possible takeaways that we will get from this webinar. One of the takeaways will be, the multiple dimensions that we will have to consider when we are planning the transition to remote learning. Technology is one of the key dimensions, and we will take a look at what are all the technologies that come into play in remote learning. And again, on the technology front, really, how do you create a great learning experience by integrating technologies and making them talk to each other? So pretty much, these three are the main sort of takeaways that you can expect from this webinar. So having got that out of the way, let's just rewind a bit. And, not so long ago, maybe 6 months ago, in what we are now calling as the normal, we were all kind of, on the work front, we were working from our offices, and specifically on the learning front, the model that was being used was what we call as the instructor-led training, or ILT model. A pretty physical model in some sense, with classrooms, face-to-face interactions between the instructors and learners, uh, really in-person collaboration between learners as well as the learners and the instructors. So extremely physical model, and a model in which there was, constant feedback happening, because of the proximity. But now, things are different. Obviously, this is what we're calling as a new normal. And on the work front, we have the whole remote working sort of model coming into play. So almost all enterprises are having most of their employees working remotely. And working remotely is not just about being able to work from home, right? Uh, in this model, enterprises are having to focus on a lot of other things, like important things like employee safety, employee health, well-being, and compliance to a lot of regulations that are coming because of the pandemic. Yeah, and all this kind of needs to be handled very differently. There are different kinds of trainings that will come. For example, for compliances, you need to kind of have a bunch of training so that your workforce and your organization is compliant quickly to all the regulations. So that's the thing that has happened on the remote working model. So from an operations standpoint, there's a huge shift in the entire operations model itself. Uh, One of the things that is there in operations is obviously the learning function. And in learning, what is happening is a bunch of things, right? Because of the pandemic, uh, there are a host of new skills that enterprises are having to imbibe at a very, very rapid pace. An excellent example is that of selling. Right? So in the earlier days, sales used to be, you go to meet your prospects, you discuss, you pitch, or you go to conferences, again, meet a bunch of people and, do your pitch and possibly get the deal. That isn't happening now. So you have to still sell and you have to sell remotely. So how do enterprises quickly equip their sales force with this kind of skill? So similarly, there are a myriad of new skills that are coming up, and all these need to be delivered in a remote learning model, which is why if you look at all the enterprise CEOs, the transition to remote learning is one of the biggest strategic priorities for any enterprise CEO. So having said that, let's just jump into a quick poll to basically see, what are the CEO concerns in today's situation where this pandemic is having its effect, and what are the concerns that the CEO has on the learning front. May I request Umesh to put up the poll? Thank you, Umesh. And there are various options over here. I would request the participants to choose multiple options, whatever you feel are the concerns. And if you think that there are any other concerns outside of this, please do type in the chat window. So, for example, is it about skill gaps that have been created due to the pandemic situation, or the ability of the leadership team to deliver in a remote working model, or the whole ability of the workforce to comply to new safety and health regulations?
Okay, so 50% of people have voted, so we'll give it a few more seconds.
Sure.
Okay. I think audience is taking a little time. All right, so 70% have voted. So let me end the poll here and let's see the results.
Thank you. Okay, here goes. So looks like, at least all these three are, pretty critical from a CEO standpoint, but the leadership team readiness to deliver in a remote working model seems to have got seen as a topmost priority. And it's no surprise because, we are seeing most leadership teams in enterprises really working hard to make this happen. So thank you guys for kind of responding to the poll. So with this, let me just hence move on to, so we have looked at the CEO concerns and we have seen that this is a strategic priority. So obviously the big question really is that how does an enterprise transition to a remote learning model? And since we're talking of remote learning, let's try to put a frame of reference, right, around what do we think of when, we say remote learning. So we'll just jump on to the next poll. The poll is about, what comes to your mind when you think of remote learning. And Umesh, can I once again request you to please put up the poll?
Sure. Here you go.
Here you go, guys. So, again, different facets, right? So is it about the learner engagement? Is there a cost angle somewhere? Is there a scale angle somewhere? Are we thinking about the complexity involved from a technology standpoint? And again, if I'm sure there are other things that are out there, and I would really request you guys to type it into the chat.
Okay, 50% have voted. Okay, a few more seconds and we'll close the poll now.
Sure.
All right, so I'm ending the poll and here are the results, Nitin.
Great, thanks, Umesh. Okay, so it's learner engagement that is top of the charts, and no surprise. I mean, this is just I mean, that seems to be one of the big sort of things that people are thinking about, that in this remote model, how do we engage learners? And that's a topic that we will definitely talk about as we come on to the subsequent slides. Uh, the next,
We have hi Komudini. So we have one chat as well which says learning while working, that is in the flow of work as
great.
one of the options.
Yeah, great point, great point. So again, that's also another point that we're going to touch upon when we, during the rest of the webinar. So fantastic, guys. So I think we are hitting all the right buttons over here, and we will take a closer look at some of these as we go along. Great. So moving on, okay. So we have kind of created like a frame of reference in terms of what basically we think of when we say remote learning. And hence, now just let's look at the meat of all of this, which is, really how do you transition to this remote learning model with integrated learning systems? And with that, let me just invite my colleague UK to talk about one of the dimensions of this transition, which essentially has to do with content. So UK, all yours.
UK, you might want to unmute yourself.
Hey, thank you, Nitin. Certainly, content is the first thing to review when it comes to transitioning to the remote learning. The way it is designed and structured for engagement as well as delivered to the learner will have an impact on the learning outcome as well. As you rightly described, Nitin, about the business situation, the agility is becoming more important now. The L&D is more forced to quickly adjust to these changing needs, which indirectly requires maybe redefining the learning programs, repurposing the content, or incorporating the feedback immediately, or maybe just publishing that content instantly to all the devices and so on. So this is all made possible when you have a better organization and management of the content. And it can be accomplished using maybe authoring and delivery platforms, which has consideration for the formats, rapid authoring capabilities, content layers, multiple devices, maybe offline requirements, and so on. So on the engagement front, earlier we used to more rely on the instructors, right, for most of that interactions, and now in the absence of face-to-face, content must play a larger role. The engaging experience that is created with maybe interactivities like quizzes, puzzles, games, polls, etc., are all essential to ensure learner connect and high interest levels throughout the sessions. So all these points are crucial to consider while creating the content, but there are certain aspects for the delivery of the content as well. So it needs to be easily discoverable, accessible, meaning the access to the content is now expected to be on demand, very well integrated into the workflows of organizational systems like HR systems, maybe Salesforce, or productivity tools like Office 365 or Google G Suite and so on. So maybe the best way is to get more precise recommendations about what content is required to be taken up and at right time. So it may be achieving the learning goals or maybe accomplishing that job and so on. And this content also needs to be digestible, meaning optimizing it to the limited attention span instead of all those long hours of classroom presence earlier. So there should be some like timely nudges like to the learner when the new content is made available, or maybe that content is not accessed for a long time by the learner. So all these are like key transformations, I would say, on the content side from both creation as well as delivery perspective. So Nitin, do you see maybe any changes for the instructor side as well?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, when we are looking at the instructor world, that is also undergoing a paradigm shift, right? And some of the things over here from an instructor standpoint are as follows. One is, of course, the whole digital savviness. I mean, that has to now go up tremendously, right? Because the instructors have to get comfortable with using the digital delivery platforms, the platforms that are used for content creation and updation. Okay, it could be platforms for engaging the learners. Okay, technologies for engaging the learners. So or collaborating. Okay, social learning. So there's a lot of myriad of technologies that the instructor will need to be familiar with, so that she can leverage this technology effectively to create a great experience. So the digital savviness definitely has to go up. The other thing, we talked a bit about learner engagement, in the physical world in some sense, right? Yeah, but now in the remote world, yeah, how do you actually assess whether your learners are engaged or no? Yeah, in the old world it was easy, right? Face to face, the instructor could pretty much judge from the faces, right, whether the learner is engaged or no. But with a remote workforce, it becomes that much difficult. So what could be strategies that the instructor can adopt, to basically judge learner engagement? So making the content, of course, more engaging through gaming, putting in polls as part of the training programs, or doing things in a micro learning fashion, or creating panels on the fly to just engage the learners more. So there are going to be different things that the learner also will need to do, the instructor will need to do. The third thing is the learning models itself. Right? Earlier, the predominant learning model was a physical one, the training model in a classroom. But now the instructor will need to get herself familiar with models like micro learning, flipped classroom, where basically part of the stuff will be done by the learner in an offline mode in some sense, and then there could be a set of interactions with the instructor for maybe queries or getting problem solved. There would be other offline assessments whose data would then come in and complete the cycle. So which training model or which learning model would work for which kind of training will be a very interesting evaluation that the instructor will need to do as the instructor embarks on doing different training programs. So these are some of the changes that will definitely happen to the instructor world. And with this dimension, let's look at the third dimension of technology. And UK, can I request you to talk a bit about that one as well?
Sure. Yeah, I think for both these content and instructor-related sort of needs, technology play a very vital role, and so is the selection of the tools as well. So there are like huge numbers of options for every aspects of learning here, right? And you start with maybe like content authoring using Adobe Articulate kind of tools, or just source it from Udemy, Coursera, like MOOCs. That is like massive open and online courses. The real central heart of this is the LMS, the learning management systems, or LXP, learning experience platforms. These softwares make the overall management and delivery of the content in more structured form. It combines content repositories, multiple formats, formal, informal sources of information, and enables content aggregating or curating or personalizing it, or specifically tracking in a standard compliant way. And for this, there are options for like subscription-based softwares are there. You may opt for a completely customized developed system as well. Or there are ready open source options like Moodle and Canvas, which can be further tailored to your organizational needs as well. But in the context of remote learning, the further more important are the tools for learner engagement and connect. The online sessions through Microsoft Teams or Zoom will enable the collaboration, mentoring the learners, or fostering the overall social learning aspect. At the same time, there is a need to reinforce this learning, which Harbinger Sprinkle Zone like tools deliver as a micro-learning measures. Also, one need to ensure engagement with the learners with the tools like Harbinger Activity Virtual Classroom that provides building the interactivity. So such learner connect is further, let's say, enhanced with maybe chatbot interactions. So like Harbinger Pretela for learning recommendations, or you can even capture feedbacks through SurveyMonkey or Microsoft Office forms like tools. Thus, it is not just one, but there are multiple technologies and that are part of the learning ecosystem. And selection of these technologies is a very important step. And further moving to the next aspect, which is more valuable, is that of integrations of these technologies. So it's not just enough just to have the tools and technologies figured out, but the real value is derived from the making these systems talk to each other. So this creates that wow experience, not only for the learner, but other stakeholders like instructors, L&D managers, by just leveraging that fantastic learning data insights. So maybe Nitin, you as a chief operations person, any examples you want to share which benefits at the organization level as well?
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. So let's try to imagine some scenarios. Okay. Uh, let's take one scenario which has to do with sales and selling. We talked about remote selling sometime, right? So just imagine that our salesperson automatically gets a nudge from the learning management system that hey, there is this a great course on remote selling, okay, and you need to take it. So her calendar is automatically blocked. The invite contains a Zoom link. Closer to the actual event, uh, she will get all kinds of notifications on all the devices that she uses, and then pretty much she kind of takes the training and she's on her way. So all this happens automatically, and somewhere because the system has taken a call that this person needs to undergo these kinds of trainings on remote selling, and then everything else is just a workflow that is there. Let's imagine one more scenario. We talked about remote work management, right? And in one of the polls, that came up as the top thing, right? That leadership skills for remote work management, right? So just imagine that the executive management in an enterprise gets a weekly heat map from the CLO that says that, hey, you know what, on remote work management, this is how your leadership is faring. These are the guys who are able to do it well. These are the guys who have these gaps, and the heat map also contains recommendations as to what can be done to close those gaps in terms of what kinds of trainings to be done. Is there any mentoring to happen? So all that stuff can come from this heat map. Let's take a third scenario, which is more for the instructor. Right? We talked of some of the instructor, shifts, right, for the instructor sometime back. And let's say, just imagine that there is a bot that actually kind of gives the instructor, insights on, hey, you did this training last week. Okay, now here is what the impact of your training has been on the learners. So, this is how much they were engaged. At this point, the content was not that interesting, or there could be insights, that recommendations that could come that, for this particular piece of your content, you should have used a different learning model. So you should have used micro learning for this stuff. Okay. Or another recommendation could be, this kind of a course, you have to ensure that you have got a very strong reinforcement learning mechanism in place. Yeah. So with all of that, what will happen is that the instructor will actually, be able to implement these recommendations quickly and really take her trainings to the next level. So, these are like scenarios, right? I'm saying this is like a wish list that, let's say I would have from the learning department. But with technology, it is not just a wish list. I mean, this is eminently possible. Yeah. And, would you want to run us through how we are making some of these things possible at Harbinger?
Sure, Nitin. Really, I mean, these are great examples, and at Harbinger, some of these experiences are created with the integration of some of the learning systems that we are using. And that's primarily focused on the learner experience, right from planning the learning goals to acquiring new skills, giving learners multiple choices about how, what, and when to learn, more in with a self-directed way. So it all starts with Harbinger Polestar, an internally developed continuous performance enablement system, which records the career development discussions, as well as some setting up the learning goals. And essentially, it helps drive the business goals as well to every level. And it also helps track the progress on it. Now, having the learning goals set for individuals will also need help to achieve those, right? And here, Harbinger Pretela, a conversational chatbot, helps in getting ready recommendations with the learning programs available in the organization. So these recommendations could be from Harbinger Academy, so which is like a central Moodle-based LMS system, or this could be from the external sources like Udemy as well. So the learner enrolls into this academy where he or she gets a personalized learning plan, gets assigned that right instructor or mentor, and also gets connected with the other learners with similar interests. So much of the content-based learning happens over this academy or Udemy-based online content programs. But real connect happens when with like using this Zoom and Teams-based live sessions. So in which the instructor mentors discuss the topic to the depth, maybe clarify the doubts. And so this blended learning, or we call it flipped classroom model, is right there embedded into the academic program, and helps effective use of the instructor time, as well as much more focus on the collaboration. But in this flipped class as well, it's essential to keep the learner engaged. So Harbinger Activity Virtual Classroom helps embed those interactions right there in the live sessions, so keeping it more engaging. So there's Microsoft Teams and other collaboration channels as well that enable the ongoing connect with the mentor experts to like for that continued learning, maybe getting those clarifications done, sharing the feedback with the learners again, and so on. So now this learner gets assessed based on the progress made as per the program and their proficiency levels. And this is sort of assessed with the help of Harbinger Sprinkle Zone. This is a micro learning platform, so it can be used like a, let's say, checking pre-event readiness on the topics, which are like prerequisites for those sessions, or maybe something during the sessions like interactions based on quiz, or have learner go through like a carousel-based summary. So the real benefit you will see here is with the post-session reinforcement with periodic nudges, like just to overcome those forgetting curve, right? And still be able to recollect and apply that learning over a period. Post that successful completion of every learning program, the learner profile is updated on the Skill Cloud, which is another internal system that keeps the record of skill map and proficiency levels of individuals and so on. So overall, this entire ecosystem creates a very engaging end-to-end experience for the learner as well as the instructor, with all that collaboration, feedback, personalization, and so on. So these integrations create great value when data is being exchanged between the systems, be it progress in like progress updates from Udemy to Academy, or feeding back the assessment scores from Sprinkle Zone into LMS, embedding that interactivity game interactivities, or maybe scheduling that Zoom breakout session right from the LMS and making that recording also available as a part of the program. So all these are like behind the scene API-based plumbing that make these data insights possible. But interestingly, what makes further impact is when these integrations are more part of the learner's organizational workflows. So for example, what you are seeing on the screen is where getting that micro learning nudges from Harbinger Sprinkle Zone right there in the Outlook, or just get those specific learning recommendations from Harbinger Pritila chatbot right into your sort of mailbox when you have the learning goals set. Some more examples are like, okay, just access that academy program in that discussion forum in the Teams channel, or maybe Sprinkle Zone delivering a micro learning based reinforcement within the same team channels where the learners and mentors are connected. So all these are like great enablers for that learning in the flow of work, and further will help capture that data about the learner's progress as well. So now let's understand from Nitin further that what are different types of insights that may be important for organizations.
Sure, you can. So and a good thing I think we touched upon was the learning in the flow of work, which was one of the points that came up in the chat as well. So I think just the use of these technologies makes learning in the flow of work so easy, right? And so beneficial for the learner. So now that there are all these technologies there, obviously then there is a lot of data getting captured, right? And with all this data getting captured, the potential for having fantastic insights on the learning front is just massive. Okay? So let's just kind of, I would like to kind of do another poll. And Umesh, can I just request you to please put up this poll? So the question is, what types of insights are key for you? Umesh, can you please put up the poll? Thank you. So here are the kind of, some sample insights which we have put, but obviously if there are more, use the chat window. So insights on learner engagement or how the learner is actually evolving because of all the training that's happening. Uh, or is it return on investment? Would we need insights from those, from that, on that front? Training effectiveness, another big area where, insights will definitely help.
So 50% have voted, Nitin. Maybe a few more seconds and we'll display the result. All right. So I'm ending the poll now.
Thank you.
Here are the results.
Okay, thanks, Umesh. So here we go. So again, it's learner engagement and training effectiveness. Okay, so these two seem to be, the top areas for getting insights. And so the third one is the ROI from learning initiatives. So that's also an interesting one. So really, what we're looking at is essentially because of the availability of data and the potential to get fantastic insights. You can pretty much get insights on all these areas and really rich insights. uh, what I would request UK to now share with us is at Harbinger, on all these fronts, okay, or most of these fronts, what are the kinds of insights that we are actually generating and using? uh, so UK, can I just request you to talk about the insights at Harbinger, please?
Certainly, when systems are integrated, most of these types of insights are visible by leveraging the learner data. So let us see what this, at organization level insights we will get here. First, the Harbinger Polestar system gives like a big picture if the organizational goals are being met or not, or overall how is the skill gap of the workforce. So based on maybe interactions with Harbinger Pitela chatbot, one could see what are the skill demands versus what are the learning programs available with the L&D, or maybe what are the popular trending topics and is there a content readiness for it, right? So I mean, there could be like typical LMS reports as well, like to help you track the enrollments in the systems, or how much is the completions by the learners, time spent by the learners, or hours of trainings by the instructors, etc. But specifically, we want to more focus on the engagement part than uh, you know, data leverage out of maybe Zoom, Raptivity, collaboration channels. So we get to know the attendance to the program, maybe who are the active learners in the system, how is the faculty or session feedback, uh, how is the learner involvement with use of interactions and participations on those channels, right? All these details help determine the quality of the program as well as if timely tuning of it if it is needed as well, right? And finally, the effectiveness of the learning, like let's say Harbinger sprinkle zone based periodic reinforcement that is, that indicates the learners remembering the topic, his or her ability to apply that learning for the job over a period, right? Or there could be feedback mechanisms with managers and mentors that captures the impact of the learning on the job, which is also reflecting back into the performance reviews in Polestar systems. If maybe there is any improved rating on the performance side. So what better can be an evaluation of ROI than something that is validating the outcome in the form of application of this learning on the job, and about retention of the language of the knowledge as well, or improved maybe the learning culture overall, like maybe through this social connect as well as how do you see with the business goals as being achieved, overall impact on the business side too. So maybe Nitin, maybe you probably will also agree that with all these types of insights, really the way integrated systems here created that wow sort of factor, not only for the learners, but also for all the business stakeholders here.
No, absolutely, absolutely. Okay, and just seeing the kinds of insights that can come. Okay, I mean, this is something that can really help enterprises take learning to the next level. Right? So, at least from this, the feel that I get is that uh, the remote learning model, if implemented well, it could potentially be a lot more effective and impacting on the business than the traditional learning model. Just because you've got so much of technology, so much of data, so much of insights, right? So great, thanks UK for this. So with this, we have now come to the sort of the summary part of this webinar. So let me just quickly summarize what we talked about. We talked about the transition dimensions, which are essentially the content, instructor, and technology dimension. Uh, we talked about the value of integration, right? In terms of how good integration between technologies can really give a wow experience to all stakeholders. And of course, generate very, very rich insights, which can really take learning to the next level and really have a great positive impact on the enterprise's business. So these are this is what we covered today in the webinar. And I would now hand it back over to our host, Umesh Sodhise. Umesh, all yours.
Sure. Thank you, Nitin and UK for this session. And just a time check, we're a little over our scheduled time. So we may not be able to take all questions, but let me see if we can take at least one question. Okay, I got a few. Maybe we can take one question, and Nitin and UK, you can decide who wants to address this. So the question is, on the technology front, any thoughts on what my company could build and what they could buy?
Great, fantastic question. So UK, can I take this?
Yes, please.
Okay, okay. So look, it's like you have a myriad of technologies, and like UK said, you got to be careful as to the selection of the technologies, as well as ensuring that they talk to each other. And then you also have to look at how your processes are today, right? And a combination of these three will influence your decision whether to build or to buy, right? So if you look at the scenario at Harbinger, uh, when we wanted to go for the collaboration element in our remote learning experience ecosystem, okay, we decided to go for a buy because there are very powerful tools like Microsoft Teams that are available. So no point in kind of building that again. Right? I mean, it'll be very difficult to get to build a product like that. Yeah. On the other hand, when we looked at micro learning, okay, we found that there are not enough products out there in the market, and especially the kinds of things that we wanted to do on the micro learning front, right, which was the pre and post learning, okay, the reinforcement, the assessments, the scoring, the administrative dashboards. Okay, so then we decided to build it on our own. So depending on really, are there any best in class products that are out there which you want to really just get in quickly? Process structured in such a way that you will need custom building would be some of the things that you need to think about when you take these decisions of build or buy. Yeah, does that answer the question? Yes.
Yes, thank you, Nitin. And yeah, with this, let me thank all our attendees for taking out time for this session. I hope all of you have found this session insightful, and we will arrange to share the recording of this webinar in next 1 or 2 days. If you have any questions, please send those at hsinfo@harbingergroup.com, and we'll get back to you over email. So with this, I would like to thank all of you once again. Stay safe, stay healthy. And we will keep this session on for a few minutes. So in case there are any questions, please drop those and we'll get back to you over email. And at the end of the webinar, you will also find a link for the survey. So I request all of you to fill this survey. It's just 4 questions. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Wes. Thank you, everyone.